What's good, everybody? Welcome to a cool podcast where we creatively optimize our longevity. I'm your host, Harry, along with
Your host Juan.
what's good, everybody, and we got a exciting show for you guys. Couple cool topics, man. That I think you guys are like, especially with the sports season going the way it's going. But we're gonna get right on into it. Our first topic of the day is Tom Brady. Tom Brady officially announced his retirement on February the 1st. And for the second time in 2 years, he has finally called it quits. Tom Brady is the most decorated quarterback in NFL history. For a lot of great reasons, he is what everybody considers the GOAT. Tom ain't got nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, he put everything on the line in his career, and for two different franchises, proved to be the most clutch, the most iconic quarterback in NFL history. And despite anybody, or despite of what anybody might say, man, this guy, man, he always laid it out on the line. Um, he had his scandals, he had his little things that he had with him, but that can't even be judged based upon the fact that this dude won 7 Super Bowls. I think he had 10 appearances. He's got the
Yeah, I think so.
all-time Yeah, he's got the all-time leading passing record. I think he's got the all-time touchdowns record. There's just so many records that this guy has, and it's going to be almost impossible to beat his records based on the fact that he played for 23 seasons. It's impressive, and yeah, it's like when Jordan retired. This is a culmination of a excellent career where he put everything together.
Do you think he's coming back, or you think he's done
Yeah,
for sure? For sure.
with Tom, you need about 6 months, man. You need about 6 months before you're like, all right, he's done. But yeah, I like to say he's done this time, man. He's been through a whole lot,
Yeah.
especially with his family. Um, I think he put a lot on the line this season just to play one more year.
Hmm.
And with that being the case, I think that he finally realized that, everything that I've gave to the game is complete. He's done everything, man. This guy has won 7 Super Bowls and had 10 Super Bowl appearances. That's not including all the AFC and NFC championship appearances that he had. Man, this dude is well decorated, and he's like one of those players, man, where he's the face of his sport. Not just his conference or not just his division. This dude is the face of his sport.
Hmm.
So he goes down with Jordan, all those great guys. When it comes down to sports faces. Messi for soccer. You got Cristiano Ronaldo. All those amazing people that you will look at in this generation and in the previous generations and say this guy defined his sport. So
Nah, man, he had a great career, man. 23 seasons. Like that's a long time. You know what I mean? Like that's a long time, and that just speaks to just his commitment, man, and his love for the game. I respect that the most because you can tell that for somebody to do something for that long, and at that level, is just a testament to how much passion and love that they put into their craft. So, I think that he had a great career, man. I'm glad we got that. The Eagles got that Super Bowl win back against him on the second time.
oh yeah.
Yeah, because man, we definitely should have won when we played them. What was it in 2004?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, but no, man, it's I think that if you're not playing at a high level anymore, then it should probably be time for him to just be satisfied with what he got. I mean, seven seven Super Bowls is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. So What they say, that's more than any franchise, right? In the entire sport.
Exactly, man. This so crazy, man. I don't even think that he played bad either. It's crazy to say. He just didn't have the team around him. Like if you look at his yards this year,
Mm-hmm.
this guy had like the second most yards in all of football passing.
Mm.
That's not somebody that's like on a downward
On the
spiral. He just
decline, yeah.
he just didn't have a team to complement, the type of level that he was on. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy to say that. It's like this dude is still playing like how Jordan was playing, with the Wizards. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, Jordan was still giving dudes buckets, with the Wizards.
Right.
He could
Well,
still,
until he got injured that first year, but now he was still great with that 40. He was still giving it to him.
yeah. And Tom, man, he's playing football, the most gladiator sport that there is. And at
Yeah.
45, still taking hits, still throwing the ball with touch.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he can't do it. I just think that he's done everything that he possibly can. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. When you achieve everything at the highest level, you have to understand when it's time to just let it go. Let it be a young man's sport and gracefully go out, because if this man goes out at 45 years old and it's the second leading passer in the NFL, to me, that's the perfect way to go out. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're not talking about a guy that just didn't win a couple championships a few years ago. This guy just won, what, 2 or 3 years ago. He just won a Super Bowl with Tampa. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what else do you got to prove? This dude won like 2 Super Bowls in his 40s, you know?
Right. Yeah, which
So
is crazy. Yeah.
at his age, man, I mean, it's just a testament, like you said, to commitment, excellence, and just working at the highest level, man, and just never
Mm-hmm.
quitting, never quitting. I remember the Super Bowl against the Eagles. I think that was Super Bowl 52. And he had fumbled. Brandon Graham made him fumble, and it was a strip sack. But even with that being said, the Eagles had kicked the field goal, and it was an 8-point game. Do you know that every Eagles fan was still at the edge of their seat until the clock hit zero? Just
Yeah.
for the fact that,
It's
you
him.
know, it's him. When
Yeah.
he threw that Hail Mary, wasn't nothing in your mind thinking that, yo, this could be incomplete. You like, man, we got to play the ball. Like, if this dude throw it up, he probably could possibly, score a touchdown at the last second. And that's what kind of killer he was, man.
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
a fact, man. We're gonna go to a commercial break. This episode is brought to you by Restream. Restream is a cloud multi-streaming service, headquarters in Austin, Texas, United States. It allows users to simultaneously stream video content to multiple platforms and social networks, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, and LinkedIn. But now, congratulations again, man, to Tom Brady on an amazing career. Just excited to see what he's going to do in the next chapter of his career. But
Hey,
we're gonna go.
did
No,
you
go ahead.
hear though? Did you hear about what he got going on though? He already
Uh,
signed the
I
TV
heard some.
deal to be
Yeah,
an announcer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. I did hear that. I did hear that. I didn't know. Like, I thought it was just like somebody throwing it out there, but I didn't know he already signed the deal.
Yeah, he already cracked the deal, man, and it's worth cheese too, man. And he will be one of the highest paid announcers in the game.
Yeah, so he's set, man. That's one thing about this the whole sports media just culture is that if you know what you know and you good at it, there's a variety of different lanes. You know what I mean? And these companies, these networks, they'll pay money, man.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, if you build yourself up correctly and you can talk and you're very knowledgeable about your craft, man, they'll pay top dollar.
exactly.
No, that's what's up. But the Super Bowl, man. Super Bowl predictions. Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs, man. What is your predictions for the big game.
Man, my prediction for the big game is going to be a 33-20 score. I feel like the Eagles are going to win this convincingly. And the reason why I say that they're going to win this game convincingly is our defensive line against their offensive line. I believe with the addition of Hassan Reddick from Camden, New Jersey, I believe that the Eagles are going to feast on Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not saying that in a cocky way or anything like that, but I just really feel like our defensive line is one of the most historic defensive lines in NFL history. And this game is going to cap off their incredible season. I feel like they were underrated in a way, even though that they did have the stat line of 70 sacks in regular season.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just unstoppable when you talk about a defensive line that has all that prowess, man. And then you couple that with um, a good secondary with Darius Slay. You got James Bradbury and you got C.J. Gardner Johnson. You put those three guys in the backfield with a nickel back of Avante Maddox, and the defense is just stout. Then on the offensive side, you got Jalen Hurts. You got Jalen Hurts, who wants to prove himself in the biggest game that there is in the world, and then you got offensive line that's blocking like no other. And I think Miles Sanders is going to have him an excellent game too. But on the opposite end, Patrick Mahomes is going to come with it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Patrick Mahomes is like one of them quarterbacks where he don't need too much. He don't need a big star name. He'll still
Yeah,
make it happen. So
he's a
uh, I,
bad
f-
man.
I feel like they're going to make it a game, but I think that the Eagles are going to win this one by 10 points.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Philly. Obviously, of course, you know what I mean. That's the home team, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 21-28 Philadelphia. I think it's gonna be a tight, close, gritty game. I think the Eagles defense is good enough to really keep Patrick Mahomes under control. You know what I mean, for the most part, where he won't explode. That they'll pressure him and they'll get after him. And I think with the wide receivers that the Eagles got, and just the running game and Jalen Hurts, I think that he wants this. You know what I mean? Like this moment, this is his moment. You know what I mean? To really showcase, okay, you had an unbelievable season. You've been a great leader, a great captain, and now what I mean, this is the big stage. Versus pretty much the predominant best player in the NFL, which is Patrick Mahomes. So I think it's going to be an unbelievable game. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. But yeah, I'm gonna take Philly for sure. I'm gonna take Philly in a very close game, but I'm taking the Eagles.
And I like that prediction, man. This is full circle for me, man, living out here in Arizona where they'll host the Super Bowl at, man. I
Right?
can't
Because
really believe.
as
I can't
soon
believe
yo,
it.
as soon as I saw the Eagles win the game, and then I found out it was gonna be in Arizona, I said, "Oh, cuz he gone." Ain't no way in hell he missing this game, man. Especially with this matchup, and then it being in your backyard. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to call cuz because ain't no way he missing this game, man. No way.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have something at the house, man. I ain't going with them prices, but
What
I
is-
definitely got to check the Eagles out, though. I got to check them out when they played the Cardinals earlier this year, man.
okay, we going having some technical difficulty, but what do y'all think? What y'all think in terms of the Super Bowl? Like who's gonna win? The Eagles, the Chiefs? Um, Let us know in the comment section with y'all Super Bowl predictions. You back? You good?
I'm back, man. I had a little technical difficulty.
You good? He said,
Yeah.
"I saw them. What the prices looking like though? They
I think
looking
like
great.
the cheapest ticket was like 5,600, man. So that was on the low
Mm.
end. That's not like resale tickets or you know best available. Man, I couldn't even imagine how like much the priciest of tickets is, man. Probably in the north of 20 to 50,000 for the nicest probably seat.
Oh man,
Probably even
that's
more than that. Who knows? But yeah, man, I'll be watching from the crib, man, on the big screen
right. Yeah.
and enjoying it. But it is a full circle moment for me as a sports fan because I think everybody probably know they've been watching the show, man. I've been living out here in Arizona for the last 15 years, and one of the biggest Eagles fans, I believe. But just for them to be able to come out here and be in a big game, it mean a lot to me, and it makes this season even more special for me as a fan because I got to check them out um, when they came out here the first time to Arizona when they played the Cardinals, and then now I get to watch their whole journey this season, and hopefully they can cap it off with the Super Bowl win.
Hmm. Right. Nah, that's fact. We're gonna play a quick commercial. This episode is brought to you by Anchor, podcasting made easy. Easily create your own podcast, then distribute to all major listening apps, all for free. Create and distribute your podcast for free with Anchor, a Spotify company. Record from anywhere, monetize your podcast, unlimited free hosting, one-click distribution. Nah, man, but that Super Bowl game, looking forward to that. But we're gonna go into the next topic of the show, which is a new segment that we introducing. It's called Top Five. So this week we're doing my top five. Next week we're gonna do Harry top five. So this week's edition is the NBA edition. So this is just my personal top five NBA players of all time. My list is a little biased, obviously because it's my list. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who's watching, just remember it's my list. So these are my top five uh, favorite NBA players, that I've ever seen play, and just my yeah, just my list. So number five is the Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon was a center for the Houston Rockets. He played in the late '80s and his tenure throughout the '90s. He was the only player. He was the only. His team was the only other team outside of this. Well, yeah, his team was the only team to go back to back in the '90s and the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls era. This guy was unbelievably talented. From his fadeaway, he had a move. He had a move called the Dream Shake. His post moves was crazy. His mid range was crazy. He like dominated Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, like all these guys in their prime. He was a beast. So if y'all really don't know how good the Dream was, definitely go back, and look up some of his highlights because this guy was unbelievably talented for his size, the skill, the ability, the way that he can move, dribble, and just his. I think just watching him for me, like just his post moves was just unbelievable, man. Like he could really get around you quick. You know what I mean? Like his spin moves, his footwork. And this guy, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, I'm pretty sure I'm missing a lot of other people. They all went to this man to get better with their footwork because he was that skilled and that elite. So do you want to chime in player by player, or do you want to chime in when I'm done the five lists?
Now I could chime in player by player. I believe
Okay.
that Elijah Wan, man, he was very skilled, and to think about Elijah Wan is he was a matchup nightmare for a lot of those guys. Like you said, he didn't have much of the probably the physical, maybe like a Shaq or some of the other guys, but it was his finesse that
Yeah.
really got him to be, arguably one of the greatest centers of all time. Um, and I ain't got no slight what you have in him right there, man. He gave Shaq fits, but the thing about that argument, I guess we could leave it for another time, is that Shaq wasn't fully in his prime. So there's a little bit of the argument, but I feel like as far as the game today,
Yeah.
Elijah Wan would be right there with the Joel Embiid's. He'd be right there with the Giannis Antetokounmpos. Like his game would even more be tailored for today's game with the prowess of passing, the prowess of his shooting ability, all of that, man. So he'd be right there with all the greats in today's time. That just goes to show you how great he was then.
And I think I could be wrong. I don't want to assume. Give me a second, but I think he won um NBA MVP and Defensive Player of the Year and the league and the final. He won the NBA championship and he won the Finals MVP all in the same year. I think the only person to do that was Michael Jordan. I could be wrong, but I definitely believe it was in that 92, 93 season. That was his prime year. And I get your argument with Shaq, but I felt like Shaq was so great as soon as he came into the league. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And the
yeah,
younger Shaq, I think he was. I mean, obviously, when you think about Shaq, he was dominant when he went with the Lakers, especially starting from like '99 to like 2004. But he was. I mean, actually, matter of fact, number four on my list is the Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal. So obviously, you know, I don't even need to even say why, but Shaq was dominant. He came into the league. I believe he came in at 92, and he started with the Orlando Magic. I think he played like what I want to say like 4 or 5 years there. Then he went to the Lakers in '96. And obviously him and Kobe and that amazing Lakers team, they went. They were the last team to go to three-peat, and they formed a dynasty. And then he won another championship with the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade. So just Shaq was just extremely dominant. Man, he would ragdoll people, like dunk on them, and he was. And then, but what I was saying too, his early days when he was with Orlando with Penny Hardaway, man, the way he could move at that
yeah.
size and run up the floor and what I mean, handle the rock, like yo, he was. I feel like he was really. I feel like Shaq was in his prime as soon as he stepped foot in the league. And people also forget that he stopped Jordan. When Jordan came back in '94, they stopped. He stopped them from going back to the NBA Finals. So man, Shaq was just extremely was great, man. He was unbelievable. Just like I said, man, just his dominance, like nobody could stop him. I hated Shaq obviously in 2001, when we lost this, when Allen Iverson and 76ers lost. But man, you just had to respect how dominant he was because he just nobody could do anything with him, like nobody. So you got a problem with Shaq being number four?
Nah, I got no problem with Shaq being number 4. Yeah, Shaq will be in my top 5 also, man, because he always had that thing about him, man, where you'd had that count for him. The only
Mm.
thing that he couldn't do was shoot free throws, and that's funny. It looks like he at the free throw line on this
Right,
display because that was his only weakness. That was his only kryptonite was his free throw shooting. But other than that, it's just like you had to have two guys on him because how could you account for him in the paint? Once he got in the paint, it was ball game. You know, it was a wrap, man. So yeah, definitely the most dominant player in NBA history. And if there ever is a player that's dominant as Shaq, man, I definitely want to see him because Shaq had the height, Shaq had the weight, and Shaq had the agility. He just was like one of those guys where, once you threw it up to him, it was a wrap, you know.
right. So number three on my list is the man, Michael Jordan. MJ. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even see why, I even need to explain. But yeah, obviously Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player who ever lived. He was just he literally was the king of the 90s, in terms of championships, his dominance, his winning percentages. This guy had no weaknesses. He's probably the best. Obviously, he's the best wing player of all time. He had what, nine NBA All Defensive teams, 10 scoring titles, five NBA MVPs. Like, bruh, his resume is ridiculous. But yeah, number three is, yeah, MJ. You any problems?
Yeah, the only thing is this is okay. So the top five, that's not the order, right?
Yeah,
The
this is
top.
my order. Yeah, this is my
So
order. My order.
so no, but the three, does that mean he's ranked third, or is this like in comparison to like you just your list? Is like
This is just my list. Yeah, so he's just third on my list of my favorite NBA top five favorite players.
okay, I got you.
So and
Okay,
and
so
and I'll fight for the next two people, and argue. But yeah, so yeah, he's number three.
okay, because the reason why I had to say that is because him at three is just okay. I'm very interested to see who's one and two now,
So
because yeah,
two.
he was so amazing, man. I mean, it's just like if you grew up in the '90s, man, and me and you, we grew up in the '90s. It's just to be kids and to be witness of his greatness, man. It's something that I can't even explain to you, man. When the kids watch LeBron, I can see how they feel, but like being have watched Jordan and all of his greatness, man, it's something that it's hard to duplicate, man. I mean, that guy was just the ultimate competitor. A lot of who you see in the picture, Kobe Bryant got a lot of his competitive prowess, from himself, but more or less what he, seen Jordan do out there and display on the court, man. A lot of that, what you seen from Kobe, is what you seen from Jordan. I mean, he was just, the rarest breed of, athletes when it came down to, his clutchness, his, his willingness to make it happen when it mattered the most. I mean, this dude, he just didn't miss when it came down to, last second shots and just coming through with the right play at the right time. And that picture right there best personifies his airness. Dude had just a glide on the court that
Right.
not too many people in this world could pull off. He just was smooth. He was graceful, and when he made an appearance inside your arena, wherever you were from, he was a show. He was the ultimate spectacle.
All right. So that's, yeah. So I got MJ at three, and number two, I got the Mamba, Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? Like, I caught a lot of MJ at the end. I mean, well, yeah, because I started watching basketball in like '99, so I didn't really see from my own eyes the era. I saw him with the Wizards. You
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean? So that's when I had to really go back to see, like, to really see those Chicago's Bulls highlights. But this man right here, um, you know, I hated Kobe in the beginning, man, because he was just so good. And, like, obviously him and Shaq beat Iverson in 01 and kind of broke my heart. But you could not deny, and like over time he just became, one of my favorite players of all time, because I think that when he came in, he had the skill, but he didn't really get the playing time, and the support right from the giddy up. And he people, I don't really think people forget Kobe struggled probably like his first 2 years. He wasn't as great. He was talented, but he wasn't as great right off the jump. But he developed that over time. Just getting advice from Michael Jordan and advice from all of the NBA greats, and just working on his game and just being consistent, man. And I think that's why, and then he just had an unbelievably career. He was really the mirror of Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like just him as a competitor, and he just wanted to win so bad, and just I've never seen anybody make some of the shots that this man made. Like just some of the most difficult shots, fading away the baseline. Just like this guy was unbelievably talented, and then like I mean, he got two jerseys retired. I hated number 8, but I love number 24. You know what I mean? 'Cause number 8 was just he was a human highlight reel, man. He was unbelievably, and then you just started to see his game, evolve as he got older with the fadeaway, the post game, him becoming a better leader. But yeah, man, Kobe. I mean, me and Kobe got the same birthday. You know what I mean? Like he was just an unbelievable talent, man. And it's sad, that he's no longer here with us. But yeah, man, I got Kobe. I got the Black Mamba number 2.
Oh yeah, man. Man, I can't argue with Kobe being in anybody's uh, top three list. I feel like he's that important to the game of basketball. His career was essential to this era and the previous eras, and just iconic, man. That when you think about Kobe Bryant and his life and what he stood for, and how he did it, you can't go wrong, man. This guy came out of Lower Merion High School. He's another local product from around our area, and just to see his life, turn out the way it did. He had a lot of pressure from the giddy up, knowing that he was fresh out of high school. I believe he was the 13th pick, and he had a lot of pressure on him because I think the Lakers were in the rebuild mode and they wanted to establish that Showtime Lakers feel again. And so when you pair him up with a Shaquille O'Neal and you pair him up with all the role players that he had, you know, the Lakers are destined for a dynasty. And one of those teams are the type of teams that you do hate because, they're just so good, man. And his tenaciousness along with Shaq's, dominance just paired them to be the greatest 1-2 in NBA history. And I
Mm-hmm.
say that with a passion because those two dudes together, they couldn't be stopped. And it'd be hard for anybody to argue that them in their primes together could be beat. He was that type of player, man. And I just love him too, man, because, it was hard for me to even root for the Lakers, but I couldn't root against Kobe. And that's how
Right.
I knew that he was
He
one
was
of the
the one.
GOATs.
Yeah.
I got to go to a Lakers game in his last year. He didn't suit up that night. He didn't get to suit up that night, but it was Kobe night. And so I have a collective Kobe jersey. And my wife gave me, some surprise tickets to the Lakers game, and I got to go see the Lakers game. So it was cool, man. I really admired his career. And I like even towards the end of his career when he had all the injuries, his willingness and his tenaciousness to just continue to get out on the court and play for his team because you could tell that he really loved his franchise. He really loved the Lakers. All the stuff that he went through with the Lakers and his ups and downs with the Lakers, he always gave his all. And somebody who gives their all like that, you can never, not appreciate a guy like that.
Right. So I got Kobe at number 2, and number 1 is the one, Allen Iverson. That's my favorite basketball player of all time. Like he was the reason. I feel like a lot of people will say like MJ was the reason they fell in love with the game, but like now this man was the reason why I fell in love with the game of basketball because you know I felt like he was the greatest pound for pound player I've ever seen. At his height, at 6 foot, he was unstoppable. And you know what I mean? He was unstoppable, bro. Like he was fearless and he was him. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I gravitated towards him. And then when he went when he went on the basketball floor, man, he would just displaying just pure greatness right from the jump. You know what I mean? And I think that, like, if he would have had, MJ's height, 6'5", 6'6", if he would have had, Kobe or MJ's mentality, you know what I mean, he'd be undoubtedly the greatest basketball player of all time. But for him to not have those things and to still be considered, one of the greatest basketball players who ever lived is just a testament to how great he was. Um, and yeah, man, that yeah, I mean, you got anything with AI being number one?
Man, I can't be mad at that. Honestly, I was like, where the hell is LeBron on the list? But then I figured, man, like it's your top five, and I can't be mad at your top five because at the end of the day, who is more influential than Allen Iverson, man? When we was
Right.
coming up, man, I mean, this dude was everything that you wanted to be, man. From the braids to how he dressed to
The
how he played
sleeve.
to the sleeve
Yeah,
to
man.
to the
He was a pioneer.
shoes
He was a pioneer.
to the just the swag in itself was just different. And then on top of the swag, man, you had just the game, man. I mean, there's so many games that this dude put his heart on his sleeve, man, and gave everything he could on the basketball court. And ultimate competitor. That's an understatement. This dude was like one of those guys that you would want to go to war with because you knew that he was going to get everything he had on that basketball court. And a guy like that, I mean, especially in the city of Philadelphia, man, when you talk about Titans, this dude was the true Titan that everybody talks about in those gladiator wars, man. In the 2001 finals, man, when he won over top of Tyronn Lue with that crossover and shot. Come on, man. Like just iconic, man. This guy was really that guy, man. Like it's hard to say it, man. If you had to be there to know how it truly felt like
Right.
during those days, but he just meant so much to the city of Philadelphia. He meant so much to where he was from in Virginia. I think he's from Newport News. I don't think too many people that had this kind of story because he was the athlete that wasn't supposed to be. If you look back at Allen Iverson's story, he wasn't even supposed to be where he was.
Right.
I think John Thompson took a chance on him with the Georgetown Hoyas and completely changed his life around because he had some legal stuff going on after high school. So the fact that he just felt like he was one of us, man. You grow up, around the inner city, man. You see, the type of stuff that people deal with on a day-to-day basis, man. This dude wasn't from like that wholesome background. He was from the hood, and to make it to the ultimate level and to compete and do it his way,
Mm-hmm.
then there'll never be a Allen Iverson. You know, nobody's a carbon copy of anybody, but this dude was just one of one, like you said. He was him.
Yeah, man. He was the one. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like it's a fair list. I feel like my list is solid.
Yeah,
The Dream number five, Shaq number four, MJ number three, Kobe number two, Iverson number one. I feel like my list is solid. You know what I mean? And it's hard, because you're gonna leave some people off. Like Kevin Garnett. You know what I mean? LeBron, Magic, Ray Allen. And it's tough because it's like a lot of people cater towards like their era. Like I didn't see Bill Russell and Kareem, and all those guys. It's
and
hard for
Wilt.
me to put them. Yeah, it's hard for me to put them in my five because that's not the era I came up on. But that's my list. Let me know what y'all think about my list in the comment section. If my list is solid, and who would you add or take off, or any issues with my list?
Yeah, that was a solid top five, cuz I really like that top five.
I feel like it. Yeah, I feel like every. I feel like every, obviously all five of them. They're in the top 75 players of all time. So they all gotta. They all have their own pristine of greatness. So yeah, man, that's it for the show, man. You got anything else?
Nah, man, what I wanted to say to the people is continue to, have that positive outlook. There's always some sort of negativity that may come your way throughout the week. Just continue to stay positive. What Muhammad Ali said, don't count the days, make the day count. And
Mm,
that's really something that everybody should implement in their lives because, you know, you could say that, you're going to make it from here to Sunday, but, every
nope.
week's different. You never know what's going to come your way. You never know what could be your obstacle. Just stay prayed up and do your best.
Right, and not just to piggyback off that, man. It's like just I think just praying every single day. Just talking to your loved ones, and just doing things, just getting out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean, and just moving. Surrounding yourself with people that's gonna push you and elevate you. Changing your environment, experiencing different, new things, just fresh things, and just life. You know what I mean? I think that when you just moving in general, and just trying to better yourself, man. And, I think everything just starts happening for you, in a miraculous way. So, nah, man, thank you for tuning into to this episode. And stay tuned for the next episode, that we're gonna have on a cool podcast.
Most definitely. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.